day that question will be answered in this country. Still on security, Southeast governors have now met. The venue of the meeting was in Enugu, and they are decrying insecurity in that zone. A lot of killings, and of course, people are getting tired of the security situation in the Southeast. So with this meeting now, do you envisage that something positively will come out of it, and the geopolitical zone will return to the normalcy that we used to know them for?
I want to say that it is coming rather too late, but it's good that it's later than never. Rather too late because the Southeast, the entire Southeast is, was used to known to be the China of Nigeria or the African continent. The Southeast, the Igbos, were noted for their industry, were noted for their creativity, ingenuity, the ability to create
innovation.
Just give them anything, they will carve out a similar. So you can even what you used to call made in China,
yes,
which in the 70s made in China project was like fake. Today you can have project. I mean, you can have call it items that are made in UK, in Germany, and when they are brought to Nigeria, you can have a similar of such parts made in Aba. Because if you go to buy, for example, motor parts, you will see clearly the part will be given to you. They say this one is the original one, this one is the one you can call fake, but this one will carry you. The original one will last you for like 2 years. The price is different. The one that you can call fake can last you for like 6 months. The price is also different. So it's left for your economy now. You can now decide which part to go for. Is it the expensive one that is from the foreign land, or the one that is made in Nigeria? Here, that is made in Aba. So the economy of the Southeast have been crumbled because of the insecurity, this issue of sit at home. It started like a joke. But today it has become so serious. I remember when Rav Wazirike was come up with the mass up movement. Then late Chief Udumegu Ojukwu was still alive. I remember that we had a meeting. That is, we had a meeting under the southeastern mandate. We had a meeting in Enugu, and Ojukwu came out to address the gathering. And Ojukwu asked Raf Wazirike, he said, how old were you when I led the civil war and I fought the civil war? So you don't have to come back to reenact history that you did not know how it came about and how it ended. Then Ojukwu was one of the candidates contesting under Abga for the presidency. And Ojukwu clearly said that the issue of Biafra, had been laid to rest. What should be asking for? You should be asking for inclusion of the Southeast in the governance of Nigeria. Those Biafra soldiers who had fought and today have not been given their pension and gratuity, or they were dismissed and so forth, ask that they should be reabsorbed by the Nigerian military and be paid their pension and gratuities. That is what you should be asking for. That the issue of Biafra, I'm going to Ojukwu now, had been laid to rest. We in the South Side, we are led to that meeting by late Harold Dapabriye and Chief Edwin Clark. I was one of the South Side youth that was in that meeting. And that was said clearly that the issue, what the South should be asking for, should be inclusion in the Nigerian state. That using Biafra to agitate for political, solution may not be the solution. The best thing is seek to contest. Ojukwu was contesting for the presidency. He said contest, aspire, seek inclusion. Now, when it is time for election like this, instead of you to seek to be included, you are seeking to deprive yourself of inclusion. You make the other side to see you as minority, and you make those you call your perceived enemies to send military troops to dismantle you, to reduce you, instead of you to seek to empower yourself, encourage yourself to be involved in the process. Today you have somebody from the Southeast in the name of Peter Obi contesting the presidency, instead of the entire East to unite. Because when you carry out insecurity, you are going to deprive voters the right to go out and vote.
In that zone?
That entire zone. Imagine that the entire zone will not vote, or they will vote and their vote will be reduced because of insecurity. And then you now have only, out of the South, now you now have South and Southwest. In the southwest, you have Ahmed Bola Tinubu. In the north, you have Atiku Abubakar, and you have Kwankwaso. How will it work out? So for me, what the southern governors have done, the southeast governors have done by coming out to meet today to seek for ways to resolve this issue is the best option.
All right.
And let me add this, sir, that the president should apply political solution in this issue of Nnamdi Kanu to also help.
We will create time to talk about that. We move to the leadership, not leadership, please, Daily Trust's newspaper. We just want to take a break from the security situation and talk about Naira and the economy. And according to the Daily Trust, CBN has my backing for redesigning Naira notes. That from the president says currency will benefit from the initiative. People with illicit money buried under the soil will have a challenge. President's comment puts Emefiele, finance minister's rift to rest. Of course, it's what I would want you to take a look at. And it's part of the things I was shouting about at the outset of this program, that the law will empower the Central Bank of Nigeria to carry out a certain policy. And the finance minister is kicking against such policies. Now, how do we ensure independence of institutions? Because a couple of times I've heard people say that in Nigeria, people are more powerful than institutions. I think this is the beginning of when we should begin to let institutions that are in this country to actually work. What do you think?
I think if you look at the CBN Act, Section 19, subsection A and B of the 2007 CBN Act empowers the management of CBN to seek approval of Mr. President to bring out new Naira, to print new Naira notes.
Every 5 to 8 years.
Every 5 to 8 years. If you look at the last time we had the new Naira, it should be about 20 years now, if I'm not mistaken. So coming now with this policy is in line with the act that established the CBN. But what I would have thought would have, been done would have been for every stakeholder to be carried along. The CBN governor should have, informed or carried along the Minister of Finance and National Budget and National Planning in order to be part of the process.
Wouldn't that have encouraged a kind of political infusion into that, exclusively monetary arrangement?
Well, I think if you look at the government now, the economic advisor, so to speak now, is the Minister of Finance and Finance, Budget and National Planning. That is what our office is. So national planning, the monetary policy is part of it. The chief, because today the president has no one tagged as economic advisor like we used to have in those days. Like we will hear of Kanu, Ibika Kalu and the rest. You don't have it today. Otherwise, you would have said, okay, this is the person who is advising the president on how the economy is run. But since we don't have anyone, we can now allude to the fact that it is the Minister of Finance that is advising the president. So if you are taking such a sensitive position that would do with the national planning, national economy and the rest, and you exclude such a sensitive ministry, such person who is your advisor in the economy, it, for me, not fair enough. Now, having said that, once a policy position is made by the government, by any arm of the government, it behoves on the government to take charge, to take the responsibility of that policy, to lay claim of it. For any of the agency or ministry to go out there to denounce that policy of a government is, for me, it shows discordant tones. It shows that there is no coordination. It shows that is what now brought us to this discussion. Because what the Minister of Finance would have done would have been to privately ask for information from the CBN governor and possibly meet with the president to be briefed properly if she was not comfortable with what the CBN governor would have told her. Then comment out to the public and say she wasn't part of it and she denounced and disowned the government policy.
And asked the National Assembly to invite the CBN for explanation.
That's it. So, we keep having these issues. You remember when the government came up with a policy that they want to recruit persons from local government under the national employment agency. You had the minister of state. You had the minister of state, that is Festus Kayamo, minister of state for labor and productivity, yes, coming out in the National Assembly to challenge that policy, saying that it must be under him. And the agency that it was under was Directorate of Employment or something like that, National Employment.
Directorate of National Employment.
They had conflict. You can even see the agency boss coming out to challenge the minister, and by right the agency is under supervision of the minister of state, but because of that disagreement, today that policy nobody heard about it.
What is responsible for that disagreement? That discord and tone.
That is because I don't want to say the president is not in charge of his appointees. Because if the president is in charge of his appointees, the appointees cannot be more than the president. Once the statement is made, a policy is made, every member of a government ought to accept it, whether it is in good or bad faith. Because where the government fails, everybody fails. It is now under collective responsibility of the government. So once such a policy is made, whether it is a good policy or bad policy, everybody in that government ought to accept it and work towards that policy being actualized. But coming out to disown, to send the feeling that you are in charge, this one is not in charge, fighting, you see what happened. So it happened in the Senate, where the Minister of Labor the Minister of State for Labor was shouting at the lawmakers. At the point, he even worked out on the lawmakers, and that's it. Because the lawmakers seem to agree that it should be under the Directorate, of Employment. But the Minister of State said no, that the ministry, the agency is under me. I should take charge. And the issue of slot, of how many persons should be, how many slots should go to this, go to that, led to what we have today. So that policy that would have given the people of the country genuine employment from local government, state, and the rest was, put a halt.